the news narrative and the news cycle right now is pretty darn negative, right? It's dominated by a lot of negative headlines: fear about AI, fear about the economy, Michigan
Iran,
Consumer
yeah, it's
Survey,
all
yeah, and then there's the obvious, right? Wars, and yet the economy keeps chugging along. And you make the point that, look, it might not be as bad as it seems.
the media has become more and more focused on clickbaits, click-throughs, advertising. What can you do to get people to click on your headline? The newsboys in the 1900s, when they were trying to sell papers on the street corner, would shout some, for lack of a better term, it was clickbait, but it's buy my 2-cent paper or whatever it is. That hasn't changed in humanity. I mean, it was a problem in the 1800s with their papers. In one sense, we're not any more divided than what you could see in a lot of other periods, it's just more pervasive now. It's more in our face. You had to actually go buy a newspaper. You had to be involved somewhere to see it. Now it's just, you can't avoid it. Retail sales came out this week, fairly robust. And yet, without mentioning any names, the usual suspects, which try to turn everything negative and twisted, said, retail sales were only up because of gasoline. Well, no, like 4 or 5% of it was.
Ed Yardeni yesterday put out Americans spent only 1.9% of their consumption on gasoline during February. That's the lowest reading since the pandemic.
Right. Americans spend the lowest they've ever spent on energy. That's not a click headline.
Right.
Okay, that's not a click headline. Okay, that's a nice thing to know, but it doesn't make me want to click. Whereas gasoline prices totally blew out consumer spending. Click.
Sure.
I look at the Iran thing, the number of armchair generals and admirals, Monday morning quarterbacks, is absolutely staggering. Mm-hmm. They all think they know what's going on.
Sure.
And the answer is, we really don't know what's going on. A few people do.
There's maybe 5 people in the world that are worth listening to right now about that subject.
Yeah.
But there's about 5,000 giving their opinion.
I will admit to being shocked when I started really looking at the projections. Corporate profits are just compounding at an amazing number. It's not an all-time high. The only time in the last 8 or 9 years it's compounded as much as it has for the last 6 quarters was coming right off of 2020 when everything had cratered. So you had this 31% quarter over quarter. I think it was like first quarter of 2021, because it was from such a low, just rebounding to normal in 2021. Showed big numbers, but after that it flattened out, and then we've had this run now for 6 quarters, which is a pretty amazing run.
Absolutely.
And that was not, if you're looking at the headlines, if you're looking at the numbers, that's not what you're hearing. JP Morgan just blew out their earnings.
Yeah.
I mean, shocking numbers, way beyond expectations.
And I don't know of any major bank that talked about how observing serious stress among consumers. They all seem
They
to
all
be
say
saying
it's all the banks are saying our consumers fine, our loan book is fine.
right.
When we come to the conference this year, Ed will be doing well over 2/3 this year, to I'm sure the delight of the audience. I have a few favorites, and one of the things that I'll be doing is I'm going to press Lacey a little bit here this year on his deflation analysis and say, okay, argue with yourself about why we're not going to see deflation and how it could be inflationary before we see deflation. Which I've had those conversations with him, and he says, well, yeah, that's possible. I want to get that in a little bit more public.
John, you're famous for your network. One of the people that I've become reliant on for analysis, particularly with regard to what's happening in Iran and the intersection of the Pentagon and Wall Street is somebody that a lot of a lot of listeners and viewers out there may not know. Renee Aninow.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're lucky to have him at our conference. He only does 2 appearances a year, and we're lucky enough to be one of them.
I can't tell you who he has daily conversations with, but it's the biggest names in D.C.
Right.
I mean, daily. The biggest hedge fund managers in the world, daily. He's just a stud on his resources and information. I'm looking forward to talking with Jim Bianco. Bianco's probably one of the best bond and rate markets. Barry Habib understands mortgage and interest rates as well as anybody. On energy, we've got Mark Mills. God, that's what a brilliant guy and a panel there. This year, somebody that I've been wanting to get for a long time we haven't had before is Tyler Cowan. He's just very balanced, very steady. In the world that we have today, that's what we need. There's reasonable voices, people without agendas who aren't trying to clickbait them, who aren't trying to use them, who have a view that the world is not coming to an end, that they can just say, yes. Because you can look around and you go, the world isn't coming to an end. You get on the planes, they're full.
Right.
I mean, you go into restaurants, you've got to make a reservation. Travel's, doing well. Hotels are doing well. If your portfolio is dependent upon some headline or some event, then you've got the wrong portfolio. When we went after Iran, if you started saying, I need to sell, you got the wrong portfolio. You shouldn't be having portfolios that are going to be influenced by macro events or geopolitical events. They're going to be affected,
Sure.
but not enough for you to have to say, I got to change my strategy. We get through it. I mean, if you need to be positioned for that. You need to have a portfolio that is anti-fragile, that's resilient.
We'll continue it at the Strategic Investment Conference starting May 4th. I look forward to seeing you there,
May
John.
4th, I'm looking forward to it.